Welcome to USA Football's Coach and Coordinator Podcast, where top football coaches from around the country share their stories, philosophies, concepts, and strategies to help you get better on and off the field. Now, here's your host, Keith Grabowski.
Since 2004, Steve Specht has been the head football coach at Xavier High School in Cincinnati, Ohio. With 3 state championships, an NFL High School Coach of the Year award, and a 143-57 record on his resume, Coach Specht has invested heavily into his football program. On USA Football's Inside the Program series, Coach Specht gives back to other coaches by sharing his experiences during his time at St. X. Hear how Coach Specht undergoes the process of sharing his vision and rejuvenating his program on this episode of Inside the Program. Let's kick it over to Coach Specht.
I think game planning has changed so much over the years. I think with the advent of huddle, especially at the high school level. I mean, I went from 16 millimeter and doing cut-ups that way. We went from that to VHS tapes to DVDs, and now you have everything online. If you wanted film on St. X, you can get every one of my game films somehow, some way. That's just the reality. That's why I laugh when some coaches will talk about, what do you want to exchange? Oh, let's just, you can have whatever I have, because you probably have it anyway. You know, that's what's funny with technology. So what I'm more concerned with, I want my scouts to get a feel. I'm going to get the film. I'm going to see what they do, but I want to get, what's the cadence? I want them down close enough to get the cadence. Were there any significant injuries at the time? Are kids not going to be playing next? Stuff you can't see on film is what we want our scouts to worry about. You know, when you start talking about what they do, I'm not worried about what they do because we'll get that from film. I want to know what your take is on them. How physical are they? What did you see on the sideline when there was a turnover? How did kids handle themselves after that turnover? How was he acting on? I want to know a little bit about the character of the team and the culture of the team. Normally, it's with the schedule we play, with the quality of opponents, it's always, Coach, I tell you, they're tough kids. They're mentally tough. They're physically tough. This happened. Hey, there was a interception. It was returned. How'd they react? He said they didn't blink. You know, those are the things I want to know. Is how do they handle when things go wrong? And again, we talked about cadence. Did you get any audible system? What did you think? But that's from the scouting standpoint. As far as film breakdown, like I said, I'm going to assign a specific assignment to each of the position coaches. So offensively, I'm going to have a coach that's focused on red zone. And all the game films we have, I want you to clip all the red zone defenses. And you'll find out real fast what is their pattern, what's their MO. They're going to pressure you. These are their top 3 pressures in this situation. These are their top 3 coverages. But you do that across the board. So goal line. What do they run on the goal? One coach is responsible for that. So that's his focus. He's going to study on that. My passing game coordinator, he's going to look at all the coverages. He's going to break it down into down and distance as well. And third and long, what are they going to run? Well, 80% of the time they're going to be in a cover 2 deep look. They're only bringing 4, or they're bringing pressure. So from there you get an idea of what teams are and what they're hanging their hat on. And then it's just as simple as what's good against it. So everybody has their assignment. When we come in on Sunday mornings, that's when we're going to go round table. All right, what are their run game coordinator? Hey, these are their top, and he'll put it on a slideshow. Boom, this is their number 1 front. This is what they're going to do 50% of the time. All right, what do we like against it? Offensive line coaches. Now, I really like this, I really like that. So we're going to get a key deal together on what we're going to do in the run game and what we're going to do in the pass game. Once we get an idea of what we want to do, then we're going to look at matchups. Who do we want to run the ball at? Who do we want to throw the ball? Where can we take advantage of these matchups? I think it's as simple as that. You're not recreating the wheel. I mean, I could go into all the details and all the specifics, but it comes down to a few things. What is their MO? What do they hang their hat on? What's good against it? Once we have, okay, this is good against it, but they've got a 6'5", 300-pound cat over there that, are we going to run at him? No. We got to double him. Okay, if we're going to double him, how do we have to tweak our pass pro to make sure we're doubling that guy? And then again, it comes down to personnel issues. So power scheme may look great against a certain front. If that 3 technique is immovable, then, well, you know, we might not want we might not want to run gap this week. Let's look at some other options off of it. So you get your basic game plan, you get your matchup issues, and then for me it's very important that I'm looking formationally, this is the run, what are we doing off of it? So again, you got to start talking about play action pass, you got to start talking about gimmicks off of it. On the perimeter, are we gonna crack? Are we going to bomb? Are we going to stalk? Again, matchups. We want this corner to make a tackle. He's 5'7", he weighs 148 pounds. That's the guy. We might not block him. We're going to double to the safeties. Ben, you better make a miss. You better run over him. It's really putting yourself in the best position to take advantage of your personnel against their personnel, in my opinion. But at the same time, you've got to start somewhere, and that's with this is what they do. This is what we have to do. The other thing I'll say is I'm a big ABC guy in everything I coach. 1, 2, 3, maybe it's a Jesuit thing in me, but my focus is I want to have 3 answers. We're running this. If they do this, we're going to go to this. If they do this and we have to go to 3, great. After 3, chances are pretty good we're not going to win the football game if you get to that point. But I want to have those answers, and I think that's what good coaching is. And I learned this from years and years ago talking to a coach, is he said, good coaching is having the answer. Good coaching is being able to fix it. And you teach that during the week. Mom's clinics, we'll talk about, well, how do you, so we have our adjustments during the week. We know what our adjustments are going to be. We might have to tweak things here or there on the fly, but for the most part, you could call our offense on a Friday night. Any one of my coaches will be able to make the calls because it's 1st and 10. 2nd and medium, 2nd and long. This is what we're going to run against it. You know, I think adjustments and all that, they make great in-game adjustments. No, those adjustments should be made during the week. There's a few things you tweak in the game, but your adjustments are made during the week. So from an offensive perspective, that's what we're looking at. Defensively, I think it's the same deal. These are their core runs. This is what we have to stop. And I'm sorry, there's 3 core runs. That's what we're going to stop. I don't care about the reverse. I don't care how they're tweaked. If we're going to win, this is what we got to stop. And this is how we're going to stop it. These are the different ways. So let's take zone read. They're going to run a bunch of zone read. Who's the guy we have to take out? Braxton Miller. Years ago, we played in the playoffs. Xavier Heights Wayne. Braxton's a great quarterback at Ohio State. We had to take away Braxton. So our game plan was focused on zone read. I have 2 guys assigned to Braxton Miller all the time. If the quarterback can't run and the tailback's a dude, now I'm going to have more guys assigned to that tailback. It's as simple as that. So we're going to identify the runs we have to stop, and we're going to decide how we're going to stop them. That might mean we're going to have to get an extra guy in the box. Well, that's going to determine your coverage because we're going to stop the run first, and we'll tweak the coverage to how we're going to stop the run. That's simple. Passing game concepts. This formation, this is the concept side. This is what they like to do. Oh, by the way, that guy over there isolated, 6'5" and can run a 4.5 40. We better double him. So again, now you've got all this deal going. We've got to get an extra guy in the box to defend the quarterback on a zone read, but we have to double backside. What does that leave you with? Probably man coverage on the front side. So I think it's as easy as that. What do you want to take away? What do they do well, and how are you going to take that away from them? And hey, guess what? Force them to beat you with somebody else. And if they can do that, my hat's off to you. Each position coach should have a specialized scouting report for his kids. Each position coach should be going through all the clips on Huddle and putting together his own play package that he's going to send out to his kids. We're going to hand out a scouting report total to all the kids. So they're going to get it via technology on PowerPoint. They're going to get a written one as well. I know what I want the kids to have. Every single offensive player is going to get this scouting report. And these are the elements in the scouting report that we want. But each position coach gets to tailor it to himself. And then it becomes a competitive deal. One coach, hey, what are you doing? And they tries to help his, and then they want to one-up one another. So you get all these bells and whistles in these PowerPoints, and let's face it, what do kids like today? They like technology. If you're just handing them a hard copy of something they have to read, you're going to lose them. You better do it online. You better do it with PowerPoint. You know, whatever your system is, I think it has to be technologically driven in today's day and age, or kids will look at you and say, what's this all about? But that's what we want. We could get into the merits of what do we want in a scouting report, and it's pretty simple. An overview, this offensively, this is their personnel. Names, height, weight, go-to guy, and we'll try to isolate each one and do a write-up on each player. These are his strengths, these are his weaknesses, this is the personnel. And then you get into formation. These are their top formations. These are the top plays they run out of these formations, and then it's formation recognition. So our kids better know this is what they like to run, right? Justin, what are they going to run? Coach, they're going to run power right here, and they also like the power pass here, and their fives. These are their core plays out of this, and we want our kids to know that. We want them to call it out during the game. Watch power, watch slip screen here. This is what they like. So we'll do the formation recognition, top plays. We'll go into specifics about the passing game. This is what they're going to do in 3rd and long, break down 2nd and long, 3rd and long, gadget plays that they've thrown out there before, what they'll do in the red zone, what they like on the goal line. Again, you can tailor that any way you want, but it's going to ultimately come down to top plays, formation recognition, and top plays out of the formation recognition, and ultimately, who are the guys we got to take out of the system. Right now, offensively in my press box, we'll have my passing game coordinator and my run game coordinator. We'll also have the guy that charts for us. So I'm going to have a guy up in the box that's doing down and distance, formation, play, and he's writing his tail off, and at the end of every series, he's going to go ahead and analyze that and let us know, compared to our game plan and what we saw, are they doing what we thought they were doing? Good, this is what we thought, this is our next adjustment, you already have that planned out. So we'll have those 3 in the box. Obviously the passing game coordinators figuring out, this is great. This is what they're giving us, this is what I'm seeing, this is what's going to be, we talked about this is what we like up, great. So I say to them, hey, next 2nd and long, have a pass ready to go. So, and he'll look at our 2nd and long calls, and I'll say, Steve, what do we have? And all my coaches aren't headsets, so right away he's going to go formation with the play he's calling that we had already discussed. So everybody says, anybody can make the call because it's right there in front of you. He says, I'm seeing this, I like this. So he makes the call. Then I have on the sideline, I've got a coach that's doing the wristbands with the board. So he'll either do a number and he'll hold up the board, and our quarterback's looking at his wristband, or it's not a wristband call. I have another coach that's signaling in. I have quarterbacks with the red hats and looking different. They're signaling dummy signals, or one of the quarterbacks is hot and he's hearing the coach tell him to play, and he's so we've got the coach that's doing the signal plays, the guy that's doing the wristband plays. I've got the coach, he's going personnel groupings. As soon as Steve up in the box says, hey, we need to go 12 amigos, he's yelling, amigos, 12 amigos, and you see the personnel going in, and then he's saying wristband number 4. And so we've got our guy writing 4 up on the board and holding it up, and I got these goofy quarterbacks doing this stuff, and nobody knows what the heck's going on, and they don't know if we're signaling or boarding it. Oh, shoot. And it's craziness, and we've got 25 seconds to do it. So it takes, you got to practice this, and we're going to practice it during the week. And you've got your get-back coaches. I got my strength coaches, and they're keeping those guys back well behind the line so we're not getting penalized, and those guys are running up and down the deal. It's crazy. It really is crazy. But I think it's important. It's the most important thing that I could send to a young, aspiring head coach is everybody has to have a purpose. And everybody has to feel invested in what you're doing. Whatever role you give them, it can't just be, okay, when he comes out, talk to him. This is your role, you're invested, this is how you're integral to the team. No different from what we tell players. If you're required to score touchdowns and that's your role, you better score a lot of touchdowns. If you're required to play on scout team and get those guys ready to score touchdowns, that's your role, and you better fill it, and you better fill it well because it's important. And the same thing's true of the staff. You can't just have guys standing around doing nothing. Invest in them. They got to invest in you. As a coordinator, it's so funny. I couldn't call a game defensively on the field. I needed to be in the box so I could see. I needed to spread all my stuff out. I needed to see the game. I didn't need interruption. I needed to be focused on what I was doing with no interruptions. There are just too many interruptions on the field. Now, what does that mean? That means I really had to trust the guys on the field that were going to make the game adjustments, the in-game adjustments. I had to trust them, but I did. And it just fit. Now, Tim likes being on the field. My defense coordinator likes being on the field. That's what he prefers. Does that mean he can't call a game from the field? No, absolutely. You see guys doing it differently all the time. To me, it comes down to what is the best fit for the team. Not what is the best fit for the coach, but what is the best fit for the team. And if Tim wants to be on the field, I have no problem with that. However, who's in the box? Are they going to give you what you need from the box? For me, I need my passing game coordinator in the box so he can see the coverages. He can see how it's developing because he'll be able to call the passing game better from there. I think the same is true of my run game coordinator. They need to be up in the box. So whether Dave or Steve really want to be on the field, I'm not sure. I don't think they care. I think they like being in the box, so it fits. But I also know that the guys I have on the field are great at making the adjustments. I never go over and make adjustments. I have to manage the game at that point, so I have to trust all these guys to do their jobs. Start with what they want to do, but then analyze the rest of your staff and say, okay, if this is what you want to do, and in the off-season, part of your plan and part of your goals, who do we have to hire? We have to hire somebody that's going to be good out of the box. So then your interview process takes a different form because you know you're looking for a guy that's going to be up in the box. You have to talk, have you been in the box? If so, what are you going to tell me about how you would call a game from the box and things you're going to look for? And that'll tell you an awful lot about the guy right away. So then I'll adapt to what he sees. And even before the week, I'm going to ask the whoever's going to be playing, Sean, what do you like? What do you like to throw? What don't you like to throw? Well, I know. What don't you like? Well, I don't like Stallion because it gets a little muddy in the middle, especially with the coverage they're playing. Fine. I'll get rid of it. I'm not going to force my quarterback to throw something he's not comfortable with. Shame on me as a coach. I want to do what he feels confident about. Now, what am I going to do the next week in practice? I'm going to focus on a little Stallion concept. I'm going to try to help him see things a little more clearly. That's teaching. Player feedback is huge.
Coaches, again, I want to remind you of what we're doing with the football development model. Please push this down to your youth coaches. I think this is a great way for you to get some organization and structure beyond what you've already done. Check it out, all of our program development for youth football at fdm.usafootball.com. Again, check out our systems for blocking, tackling, and defeating blocks at footballdevelopment.com. If you register with your email, you get your choice of 3 free videos. There's some great things in there. I think things that as you get going again, you can get into the summer and maybe make up on some things that you might have lost if you had a spring ball, if you had time here in the spring to work on football. Some great drills for all those phases of contact. If you're enjoying the podcast, please have it over to iTunes or your platform and give us a 5-star rate. If you have a minute, write a review. We really appreciate it, and we will read your review on our highlight show that we do at the end of the week.
Thanks for listening to USA Football's Coach and Coordinator Podcast. For more resources, visit the Coach Performance Center at usafootball.com.